This chart shows the typical video lengths from the top 100 YouTubers. Now in the early days, you can see the top YouTubers' videos usually lasted for around 5 minutes, which, for the record ladies, is a decent amount of time.
But then things started to trend up a little bit, and recently in 2022,
something big happened. See, Stranger Things Season 4 released with movie-length episodes, and the top YouTubers were like, bet. And since then, the top YouTubers' typical video lengths skyrocketed, going all the way
up to 21 minutes.
But where does all this data come from, and what does it mean for small YouTubers? Well, today I'm going to show you how I downloaded all the videos and words spoken on the top 100 YouTubers channels. And we're going to analyze things like how complex their words are, how fast they're spoken, whether they're more positive or negative, and 5 other things that will hopefully help you get more views than a see-through clothing haul video.
And no, you cannot see my watch history. Jokes aside, since 2006, the top 100 YouTubers combined have uploaded 93,421 videos. In those videos, I found 42,000 hours worth of content with 286 million words spoken.
Now, obviously, there's no way I'm going to manually analyze 42,000 hours of content. I love you guys, but not that much.
So here's what I did. First, I made a list of the top 100 most subscribed YouTubers, excluding brand, kids, or non-English channels. Then I paid my developer friend to go and build custom software that would grab all of their videos and transcripts. And finally, I begged my data scientist mates to help me turn all the data into enough graphs to resemble the New York Stock Exchange.
And now that we have all this data, we can do some interesting analysis to help us understand how it is the top 100 YouTubers in the world actually make their videos.
But before we get into that, first I want to quickly look at how the top 100 YouTubers actually post their videos. Specifically, how often do the top 100 YouTubers post? Well, we individually took each of the 100 channels from my list, downloaded all of its uploads, and then divided that by the number of months that channel existed. And after doing that to all the channels, we were left with this graph. The vertical axis shows us the number of videos posted per month, the horizontal showing us the years. Now in the early days, we can see today's top 100 creators didn't post much. 1 to 2 videos a month. But that was all until 2010, where this happened. Posting volume increased almost as much as Minecraft Let's Play videos' popularity. The average, which is this blue line, peaks in 2015, where the top YouTubers were posting an average of 13 videos per month. And the median, which is the red line, which is often more reliable because median doesn't get skewed massively by big outliers, peaked in 2018, with top channels typically posting about 7 videos a month. But what's really interesting is if we keep drawing out these graphs, we can see both the median and the average go down. And if we just look at this graph, which shows us data from the last year, we can see the 100 most subscribed YouTubers typically post between 1 to 5 videos per month. Now the average number of uploads per month is 6, which is a little skewed from some channels down here that post a ton of videos per month, with the median, which is my preferred stat to pay attention to, sitting at about 3. But what is this actually telling us? Well, it seems like the top creators definitely go for a quality over quantity approach. But if we go back to this year-on-year graph, it looks like before switching to a less frequent upload schedule, the top creators posted a lot of content to find their voice and refine their skills. And so using this data, if we were to build out a checklist that would help you model the top creators, the first item on the list would be quality over quantity. Specifically, upload 1 to 5 videos per month. But the caveat is, in order to get there, you might need to first lean into quantity to develop your skills and find your voice. But that begs another question. When the top YouTubers do upload, what day do they upload on? To figure that out, I went to the MrBeast channel, then used our Big Brain software to download every single one of his videos' published dates, then converted those published dates into days of the week, and tallied them up to find MrBeast's preferred publishing day, which is Saturday, in case you're wondering. And then from there, all I had to do was spend the rest of my weekend doing this exact same thing for the other 99 channels on my list. And look, after hearing this, I know what you're thinking. Marcus,
how are you still single?
Answer, I don't know. But what I do now know is the most common upload date for the top YouTubers. So here's that graph, which initially appears about as useful as a waterproof tea bag, until we get to 2021, where I want to draw your attention to this Glassmith cyan line that jumps out above the rest. Now that line represents Saturday. And if we look at data from just the last year, you can see that about 26.5% of the top YouTubers' videos are uploaded on a Saturday, which makes sense. If you want viewers to binge your videos, they probably have more free time on the weekend compared to weekdays. And so if we were to continue building out our checklist, uploading on Saturday would be the next point. Now in a second, I want to show you some of the graphs and analysis I did for the words top 100 YouTubers actually speak in their videos. But before I can do that, one last question that needs answering about their videos themselves is, How long are they? Well, using similar methodology to the previous graphs, we generated this one, which you would have seen from earlier. TLDR, you can see here, typical video lengths are up higher than a Snoop Dogg impersonator. But if we just look at this graph, which shows us the last year of data, we can see top YouTubers posting a range of different video lengths, some over 4 hours long. But those amongst you who use your eyes to see things probably picked up on the fact that most videos seem to be between 2 and 40 minutes in length. If we dial things in a bit more, we can see the average video length is 34 minutes, with the median being 19.9 minutes. So if you want your videos to model the top 100 YouTubers, I'd aim to keep your videos around 20 minutes long. So let's add that to our checklist. But now we've got the high level video related stats out of the way, let's analyze the top 100 creators' actual speech. And I want to start by looking at how much the top 100 YouTubers speak, aka words per minute. It's a simple calculation. Basically, our software looks at the transcript of a video and counts the number of words in it, and then divides that number of words by how many minutes long the video was. And that gives us words per minute. And if we now look at this graph that just shows us data from the last year, you can see the average words per minute is 134, with the median being about 156. To put that into perspective, the average human speaks at about 110 to 150 words per minute. But there's a big but. See, those amongst you who use your brains to think things might have thought, but Marcus, if we just take the amount of words in a video and divide that by the number of minutes, if the video has a lot of silent patches of no talking, then the words per minute score is going to get skewed. It's going to appear like the creator is talking a lot slower than they actually are. And you would be right. It's one of the reasons I believe the average is much lower than the median here. See, what interests me about this graph though, we can see these bars down here from 158 words per minute to 197 words per minute stick out from the rest. And from doing some manual analysis, where I actually took a bunch of videos, manually cut out all of the silences to find the true words per minute score, these numbers seem a little more realistic, particularly the 168 to 187 bars. And so if we were to continue building out our checklist and you wanted to model the top YouTubers, I think I'd actually break words per minute into two separate points. The first point is more about how frequently the top YouTubers speak in their videos, like how many actual words are in their videos on average per minute. And that looks to be about 156. But if we're looking more to understand how fast YouTubers are speaking, like the rate at which words come out of their mouth when they are talking, I think somewhere between 168 and 187 words per minute is a more accurate estimation. But that brings us to another question. See, when the top 100 YouTubers are speaking, how complex are the words they're saying? Well, we use the Flesch-Kincaid readability test to measure how difficult transcripts were to understand. The FKGL test was created in 1975 for the US military to assess the complexity of their training manuals. Now, the exact mathematical equation the test uses is up on screen, but for all the 1970s US Navy recruits among us, here are some examples of it in practice. This first passage of text is long with complicated words, giving it a score of 18.5. Compare that to this sentence, which only scores 4.1, which you can see is about equivalent to a 6th grade reading level. Much easier. Geopolitical jokes aside though, I'll put some examples up on screen so you can pause the video and look at them. Now, when we analyzed all the transcripts from the 93,000 videos from the top YouTubers, we found that for most of their history, top YouTubers scored between 3 and 4. But in the last year, we can see it's dipping faster than my Australian Wi-Fi during a Zoom meeting. And if we look at this graph, which shows us last year in more detail, we can see the most common scores are between 1 and 5. And so to model the top 100 creators, the next point on our checklist would be keep your reading level under 5. aka the average elementary school student should be able to understand it.
Now, I want to quickly jump in here because there's an important caveat you need to bear in mind. See, just because something shows up in the data I've shown you so far doesn't necessarily mean that thing caused the big YouTubers to be so successful. It can be easy to mix up correlation and causation. For example, all the pro basketball players are tall, but that doesn't mean basketball causes tallness. But the reason I still find all this data very interesting is, by definition, the top 100 YouTubers are very successful, and we know that they have spent thousands of hours and millions of dollars testing every possible way to maximize their content and views. And when a bunch of these YouTubers independently all start doing the same thing, whether that's speaking below a certain grade level, using certain types of words, speaking at a certain rate, it signals to us that maybe there's something inherent about doing that thing that gets more views. In saying that though, we can't get lazy. We still need to think about this data in context and use our common sense.
But that led me to another question. When it comes to tone, do the top YouTubers primarily speak about things in a positive way or a negative way? Well, to calculate this, we first broke tone down into buckets. We had negative tone, positive tone, neutral tone, mixed, and then we have no fucking idea. I then used my software, and by I mean Bobby, my developer friend, to run LLMs over each sentence in every video in our study. For example, AI scored this sentence as negative because of the negative words used and the phrasing of them. On the other hand, it scored this sentence as positive. And this one wasn't particularly positive or negative, so it was scored as neutral. And so then, after scrolling all of the phrases in each of our video's transcripts, our AI would then decide whether that video was primarily positive, negative, neutral, you get the idea. And after doing that across all the videos in the top 100 channels, we ended up with this graph. Now I get a lot of lines here, confusion, overwhelm, but the two things that I find most interesting are this red line, which represents negative videos, and this green line, which represents positive videos. And what we can see is if we track positive videos over time, we go from about 10% of the top 100 YouTubers videos being positive all the way up to around 40%, with negative videos doing almost the exact opposite, going from 40% down to around 6%. And we can see that more clearly if we just look at this graph, which shows us videos from last year. 40.7% of the top 100 YouTubers tend to post positive videos, 32.9% post neutral videos, 20.4% are mixed, and 5.8% negative. So if we were to add this to our checklist, to model the tone of the top YouTubers videos, you want to try be positive, number one, or at least neutral. But that led me to another question. When the top YouTubers are speaking, are they creator-centric or viewer-centric? For example, if I say, you won't believe the results of this YouTube study, I'm talking about you. This is a viewer-centric sentence. But if instead I say, I analyzed all the words from the top 100 YouTubers, I'm now talking about the same thing, but I'm talking about myself. It's me, or creator-centric language. So the question is, how narcissistic are the top YouTubers? Now, if we just look at the last year, we can see narcissism is dunking on whatever the opposite of narcissism is. What is that? Is that selflessness? In all seriousness though, 60% of the top YouTubers are primarily creator-centric. They use I language more in their videos, with 40% being viewer-centric. They use you language in videos. A caveat that is worth bearing in mind here though, and this goes back to our don't blindly take all data on face value point, but the majority of top YouTubers are entertainment channels primarily, and so I wouldn't be surprised if viewer-centric language was a bit more common in education videos. But looking at the differences between education and entertainment, that's for another video. And so now let's go through our full checklist and add this to complete it. First, when it comes to posting videos, post between 1 to 5 videos per month. And if you want a specific number, the most common upload frequency is 3 videos per month. But bear in mind, the data seems to indicate that top YouTubers posted a lot of content and mastered their craft before slimming down their upload schedules. When you do upload, post on Saturdays. I'd aim to keep your videos around 20 minutes long. Now, in terms of the amount of words to use in your videos, top YouTubers have about 156 words per minute, but bear in mind that stat is not accurate when it comes to speed of speaking. For that, my best estimation is you want to be speaking about 168 to 187 words per minute. Now, for word complexity, you want to score under a 5 on the FKGL test and opt for a primarily positive, or if you can't do that, at least neutral tone. And last but not least, embrace your inner narcissism and speak more about yourself than your viewers.
But you may have noticed I didn't mention anything in this video about the top YouTubers' titles or thumbnails, which are incredibly important. And that's because I actually made a whole video dedicated to top YouTubers' titles and thumbnails. I'll link it up on screen so you can go check it out. So click that video, because at the end of the day, if people don't click on your video, they don't even get a chance to be exposed to your content. Massive thank you to everyone who helped me make this video. It was a massive project. JV, Matt, Charisse, Bobby, Dave, Sashil. Wouldn't have been possible without these guys. And hopefully I'll see you in the title and thumbnail video.